Hey Saber fam, so I feel like I chose a really appropriate shirt for today. Doing two Vader reveals. I got a Vader shirt on. Nice. Anyways, it's a nice little MPP 2.0 by Corbanth. And this also has a Nano Biscotti V3 with deep red white LED and a kill switch on the clamp. I love the shine through that this gets in the wire section. It's so cool. It's so cool. Put a blade in it for you. So, love it. This, of course, has two fonts, dark meat and light meat. I'm gonna hold the blade. God, I don't like light meat at all. Look at that. Not even getting any swings. That's a terrible font. It really is. Just the swings. I don't know. Like, this one's good. And then, of course, the kill switch is a very useful function. Even though this has deep sleep mode, this still cuts power completely. So, I mean, hit the kill switch, completely off. Hit it again, it's on, off. Great feedback. Now, this also has a Robert Sotomayor of Sorok Sabers chassis in it. Oh, one thing I want to point out before I get to that. I did do some free upgrades for this client. I had some extra wire left over from the KR accuracy kit that I put in there. So you get that nice accurate wire in there. And this one actually is not even glued in. It's press fit and it's solid. I mean, you can take it out, but it's not going anywhere unless you want to take it out. These are held in place with E6000 in there. Let's see if you can actually see it. I mean, that's a lot of good shine through. I had some extra flathead 440 screws on these sides here and on here. Now, KR also makes this particular knob with a slightly longer thread on it for blade retention. As far as I know, that is one of the few ways you can achieve blade retention on this. The other way would be this useless, almost useless set screw here. It really is quite useless. All it's doing is holding down the shroud with this. So that and this hold down the shroud. That's it. Not like you could have just used this or anything, I'm just saying. But you could actually drill this set screw through. As you can see, you still have quite a bit of blade chunk left. Sorry, blade holder chunk. You could actually drill that 1032 screw all the way through and use that as blade retention, or you can buy that blade retention right there. And look at the blade depth on this sucker. Good God almighty. Like 2 inches or something like that. But yeah, it's ridiculous. But you'll see the T-grips are accurately aligned. You can, of course, whenever moving this, I do have double-sided tape on the back side of this clamp, but it can still move a little bit. It's solid, but it can still move. Hold it up here, just in case. But you can still turn it tighter. But that's still, there we go. That's still, solid. Chassis access. The reason I've done the kill switch is so that you don't have to do this every time. Because let's face it, it's kind of a bitch to get off. It's really tight with that clamp. There we are. Fixed chassis. I used E6000 around the collar of this chassis up here. That way it is fixed. And you have two LEDs down here. Let me turn that off so you can see. Recharge port, Veco bass speaker. I did a red LED up top and a white LED on the bottom. The white LED is wired into the deep sleep pad on the Nano Biscotti. The red LED is wired up to the momentary to latching converter for this kill switch. So you'll see that click on first and then the white one. It's kind of like a sequence. Kill switch, deep sleep. 1, 2. 1, 2. So whenever the board enters deep sleep, you'll see the white go off. So I mean, that was just something I kind of did out of the ordinary. Client seems happy with it, so Yahtzee. I always like to throw in accent LEDs where I can. So there's another one down. The other way I could have done this, but I didn't really want to, because I dislike the unfixed chassis setups. You know, I could have just had that chassis kind of flopping around and just remove the pommel cap and slide it out, but I really don't like that. I prefer a fixed chassis, less likelihood of it shaking around when you're swinging it and creating false clashes, false swings. It's just bad news bears, man. Yep. I've noticed that whenever you put the bottom half back on, sometimes it will cause the switch to rise up and activate. So just be aware of that, Mr. End User. And there we are. Oh, you can actually see the LEDs through that hole right there. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, there it is. I didn't even think about that till now. I love that shine through on those wires though. Yeah. You hear that static a little bit from the Veco. I'm thinking that the two Vecos that I used, well, not that I used, but that I was provided with, I think the two that I was provided with on both this DV6 and MPP, I'm thinking that they've been sitting around for a little while, because it was very strange. One of the issues I came across with MPP was fine. That worked out great for the speaker. But for the DV6, it's very strange. That's Veco. It's kind of a cheap speaker. It works, but it's kind of cheap. I mean, $6 versus like a $15 Sabre Essential, if that tells you anything. It kind of pissed me off, to be honest. But I got the DV6 installed, booted it up. The speaker had kind of a distorted, staticky sound to it. I was like, what the hell? So turned it off, let it go into deep sleep mode, turned it back on, didn't work at all. No volume at all, except for occasional little blips here and there. And, you know, by that time I was just like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to step away from it for a while, which was a good idea. And then, oddly enough, I went back to it later, and it's been working fine ever since. So, freaking technology, man. I'm telling you what. I know the solder joints I did were good. Shiny silver. Solid connection. So, I don't know. It works fine. So, oh well. Anyways, that's my small rant. Hope you enjoyed the video. I've always enjoyed these two particular Vaders by Corbanth. I think it's just because they're 7/8, they're heavy. You know, if it's 7/8, it's going to be skinnier. Like, I can honestly say that the '89 Sabres Vader is significantly well, not significantly, but it's bigger. Overall, it's bigger just because it's a 1-inch blade holder. And there are quite a few things I like better about the 89 Sabres version, such as switch setup. You know, this has the one switch right there. That's it. Any other switch, you have to modify this to fit. 89 Sabres, you have a little PCB underneath it. That's a switch. That's a switch. Life is good. You got two switches. I've worked on another MPP before where there was a small hole drilled in right here and a tactile switch was mounted to that. You could probably modify the PCB to where it could fit another switch on there, and you could modify this to have a tactile, or you could probably even get away with fashioning this into a switch in some goofy way, kind of like how 89 Sabres did it. It was pretty interesting. It pretty much was just a plunger onto a tactile, and then use this for LED or blade retention. I don't know. That's just some ideas there. Well, anyways, hope you enjoyed. Until next time, may the force be with you always.